Hello, welcome to lesson 3. In today's lesson, we'll be talking about transforming any other graphs. We talked already about transforming trig graphs. So let's look at some of the rules regarding transformation of graphs. When you have y equals a f of x, in this particular instance, it means you multiply the y coordinates by a. I'll give you a specific example to explain. When you have y equals f of x, then plus a, shift the graph up a unit when a is positive, and shift the graph down a unit when a is negative. So that is a vertical shift translation. When you have y equals f into bracket ax, divide the s coordinates by a. Then lastly, when you have y equals f of x plus a, or in bracket, shift the graph to the left when a is positive, and shift it to the right when a is negative. So they work in the opposite way. So left when a is positive, and right when a is negative. So that's also a horizontal shift translation. So in summary, you can see that when the number or the a is outside the bracket, the changes will happen on the y coordinates, and when it's in the bracket, the changes will happen on the x coordinates. So now let's look at a specific example and see how to apply these rules. Pause the video and read the question so that you can see or understand the context of the question. Okay, so this is f of x. We are supposed to draw or sketch the graph of f of negative 2x. F of negative 2x. Right, so what you need to do is that we are supposed to divide every x coordinate by negative 2. Now, it's a sketch, so all you need to do is only locate important points. So there's x coordinate here, s coordinate here, s coordinate there. So that is 4, 2, and 0. Divide each by negative 2. See what will happen? That's negative 2. That's negative 1. 0 will still be 0. Then you just have to join. And when you join, you see that the graph is compressed and also reflected. Reflected because it's negative, divided by 2 will sort of compress it, or you have the graph. Now let's see what happens to the coordinate point of a. We said divide only the s coordinate. Divide 2 by negative 2 is negative 1. That's exactly what we've got here. So we can even know the outcome even before we do the transformation. Now pause this and see if you can get it right yourself. Let's see. So here is f2x. So you need to divide every s coordinate by 2. So we pick the s coordinate here is 6. Divide by 2. That is 3. Look for another s coordinate. There's 1 here as well. This 2 divided by 2. That is 1. There's another one here. Divide by 2. Negative 1. You don't need to do all of it, just important points. Then just join, and that will be your graph. Here is also compressed because we are dividing by 2. Now what happened to the coordinate of a? We said is 1, negative 4. Let's see why. Because we are going to divide only the x by 2. So here, if divide 2 by 2, that will give you 1 exactly, and the y coordinate doesn't change. So here is compressed, scale factor half. That means it's been reduced because we're dividing everything by 2. X coordinates, sorry. Example 3, we are supposed to do y equals negative f of x. Negative here means negative 1. Don't forget, negative 1. So when you have negative 1, it means multiply only the y coordinate by negative 1. So the y coordinate here is 0. The y coordinate here is also 0. So those one will not change. But there's 1 here, which is negative 1, negative 2, negative 1. We're going to multiply them by negative 1. Let's see what will happen. Negative 1 divided by negative 1, positive 1. Negative 2 divided by negative 1, positive 2, and so on. So you see, when you join the graph, it becomes a reflection. So as long as the a value, or what is in front of f of x, is a negative number, it's going to be a reflection. It's going to be a reflection. Let's see the coordinate of a. What will it turn into? We have 2 and 2. Why? Because we are only dividing the y coordinate by -1. So if we divide -2 by -1, it's +2. The x coordinate stays the same. Try this if you can. Okay, let's see. The number is 2. So what does the rule say? Multiply every y coordinate by 2. So let's pick a y coordinate. Those are zeros. So when you multiply by 2, they will still be 0. But that one is -1 times 2 is -2. Now this -2 times by 2, -4. That's -1 times by 2, -2. And when you draw it, you see that it's being stretched by the scale factor 2. It's being stretched because we are multiplying each y coordinate by 2. And the effect on the a is only on the y coordinate. The y coordinate is -2. -2 times 2 is -4. Example 5. That's translation. F of x plus 3. So that means shift the graph up 3 units. Simple as that. Or you can just multiply, add 3 to each of the y coordinates. Move it up 3 units. So each y coordinate will have to go up by 3 units. That's one way of doing that. We can just shift the graph. So each y coordinate goes up by 3 units. As you can see, exactly. So that's our graph. And the coordinate point, like we said, is only affecting y. So if a is 2, -4, -4 going up 3 units will be -1. So that's 2, -1. So in the same manner, if we're supposed to do f of x minus 2, you push the graph down 2 units. Like that. And the a coordinates will only affect y. So from -4, go down 2 more units, it will be -6, as you can see. So this is translation, vertical translation. Now let's look at horizontal translation. Remember the rule says when it's negative, it's to the right, and when it's positive, it's to the left. So here, it means it's a translation where we move it to the right. So it's 3 units to the right. So you just shift it 3 units to the right. So it's like every x coordinate is moving 3 units to the right. That's what it means, every x coordinate. So it's going to affect the a coordinate. Only for x coordinate we're going to change. So the x coordinate was 1. If you're moving 3 units to the right, you are adding 3. That's why it's 4. The y coordinate stays the same. Now let's look for what if it is f of x plus 1, or in bracket. So that is shifting to the left 1 unit. So the black line have to move 1 unit to the left. And of course the a coordinate is 0, -2. Now let's see combination. So here we have combination, both vertical shift and horizontal shift. The ones in the bracket is going to affect the x. The one outside is going to affect y. Okay, so let's see, what does this mean? That's a translation. -2 means 2 units to the right, and -3 means 3 units down. So you push the graph 2 units to the right and 3 units down. So that's the 2 units. That means every x coordinate will have to shift 2 units to the right. Then from there, every y coordinate will have to go down 3 units. So we're going to go down. So that's where we're going to be now. So in terms of the coordinate, we can say our new coordinate will be 3 and -5. And it makes sense because if 1 is going to move 2 units to the right, it's going to be 3. If negative 2 is going to go down 3 units, it's going to be negative 5. So even before you do the transformation, you can even picture the coordinates. Now, here we are supposed to predict the coordinate without actually doing the transformation. Okay, let's look at our summary. Our summary says that when the number is outside the bracket, it affects y, and when it's inside, it affects x. This one is outside, so it should affect y. So our x coordinate will still be 5, so let's put that down. But 2 is going to change. We're actually pushing the graph down. So from 2, if you go down to 4 units, from 2 down to 4 units, that will give you negative 2. So that will be our coordinate. It's inside the bracket, so it's going to affect x. When it's minus, you are moving to the right. So 5, 2 movement to the right, that's 5 plus 2, that will give you 7. But the y coordinate will not change, so we still have 2. Inside the bracket is going to affect x. But this one, we have to divide only the x by negative 1. This is 5, divided by negative 1. That will be negative 5. Y coordinate will stay the same. Here is double. The one outside is going to affect y, so you're going to multiply y by 2. This one is, you're moving to the left 2 units to affect x. So if x is 5, x is 5 here, so 5, 2 units to the left, that will give you 3. Now we have 2, 2 times 2, that will give you 4. And lastly, how do you draw the graph or write a function? Now we have f of x. How would you write the graph of g? If you look at it, the translation is being shifted to the right. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So f of x have been shifted horizontally to the right. And remember, you have to be the one in the bracket, and they move opposite ways. Right means a negative, so don't forget that. So our function will now be, you can use this to guide you. Negative 2 is now negative 4. So it's a shift to the right. And that will be f of, into bracket, x minus 6, because 6 units to the right. And don't forget, it has to be minus. The same way here, you look at the coordinate. S coordinate is the same, y coordinate has changed. So from 0 to negative 2, we push it down 2 units. So your function will be f of x, then minus 2. So that brings us to the end of our lesson on transformation of graphs. Hope you've enjoyed it. Subscribe it, share with your friends if you are new to this channel. Thank you very much for watching.